Hello dear friends, Michelle is on the line with you, and today I want to tell you about another major international fraudster in the field of trading. To those who decided to watch my material for the first time today, I want to introduce myself. I'm very glad to welcome you to my YouTube channel, and as you probably already understood, I am Michelle and I'm an expert in the international finance. My main target for which I do all this in general is to improve the professional level of those traders who have not yet managed to become real professionals but are only taking the first steps in a new profession for themselves. I don't want you to delude yourself into thinking that trading is something like a pleasant walk in the park. This is a complex intellectual work, and it is difficult for the reason that in order to be a successful professional able to fully ensure his existence by speculative activity in international financial markets, it is required not only to have a substantial knowledge of all the subtleties and features of technical and fundamental analysis, but also to have a cool, inquisitive mind to be able to easily overcome the daily monotonous routine activity. After all, the first thing you need to do is constantly monitor the assets selected for work, tracking minimal changes in the behavior of quotes. Yep. And only after checking everything many times and thoroughly evaluating it, open an order, not before. If you hurry, fall into a gambling state, your deposit will suffer a sad fate. Most likely you will quickly lose all your funds. So, think many times if you can handle it. And if so, go ahead, change your life for the better. Yep. After all, by any large, nothing is impossible for a person in principle. All of us are capable of sooner or later becoming who we want to be. You just need to clearly understand what you really want, and having decided, constantly and systematically move in the chosen direction. Then everything will work out for you. But as you understand, there are situations that don't depend on you and me. Usually in such situations, especially if something doesn't go according to plan, it's customary to say that a person has become a victim of circumstances. Such moments include the cases when you get to the black broker's platform. You carefully study the portal, the trading conditions, and you seem to like everything. But you don't know, you just can't know, because you don't have the necessary professional experience yet, that you are visiting the most notorious scammers. And after all, as it turns out, you have studied the theory even on the demo account of the live chart. You had time to practice. But having become a notorious victim of circumstances, there is nothing you can do about the fact that your deposit will be zero and your funds have ended up in the hands of scammers. That's exactly why I spend my time preparing materials like this, just to minimize your risks. As I have already said, the profession of a trader is already very difficult, so watch my materials, learn about scammers, and in no case give them your money. Today I will talk about the criminal activities of the Xenomarkets project. This is a relatively young project that appeared on the web not so long ago, but has already managed to deceive a lot of novice traders. So be extremely vigilant and in no case invest there. In a few minutes I will begin a detailed analysis of their activities, and now a small comment from my side before we begin. Friends, I sincerely hope that you like what I'm doing, that you also think it's useful and right. If so, be sure to like my material and make the maximum repost of the link to all your friends and acquaintances. This is one of the most effective ways to protect them from fraud. The more people learn about the true nature of Xenomarkets activities, the more likely they will not be able to deceive anyone else. If you have any suggestions or you have already encountered the actions of Xenomarkets on the network, be sure to write me about it in the comments or directly to me via the contact specified in the description of this video. I will be happy to answer all your questions and give simple but effective advice on your private situation. For my part, I guarantee you a complete anonymity. So friends, let's start now our review of the Xenomarkets project. I invite you to join me. Let's go. Okay. So, what do we see on the central page of the Xenomarkets portal? Let's take a quick look and evaluate everything. Well, what I want to say from a technical point of view, this portal is completely mediocre. I have absolutely nothing to praise it for. There are no interesting and innovative ideas. Everything is grey, boring and dull. But we must admit that theoretically an inexperienced trader who is just starting his career in the world of trading may get the false impression that this is a legal enterprise that has all the legal rights to provide access services to trading operations on international financial markets. But I promised you that everything will be step by step. Let's do that. The first slide that I want to draw your attention to is fake information about the number of trading instruments. It says here that there are hundreds of them. This is certainly not true. After all, the Xenomarkets project has nothing to do with classical stock trading. After all they can offer you here is to work with contracts for price differences. So there is only one trading instrument here. It's CFD. Why am I talking about this with such confidence? Well, here the content speaks for itself. It's obvious that the organizers of the project themselves do not know how the trade actually works, or maybe they do, but they don't consider it necessary to initiate newcomers into this. There is not a word said where these pseudo-brokers quotes come from, and they should appear from a liquidity provider. The larger such a supplier is, the faster the asset price information is updated. At the same time, I am not even talking about the fact that several contracts for the supply of liquidity can be concluded. The second point that tells me that there is no way to work on the stock exchange is the lack of information about the depository. When you work with a white license broker, you can always purchase not only CFD contracts but also classic assets such as stocks, bonds and other securities. By buying them, you automatically became the owner of a small part of the company whose shares you have decided to buy. And having become the owner of shares that it is a shareholder, you automatically get into the register of shareholders, which is maintained by a specially authorized body called the Depository. Disclosure of information about who acts as a liquidity provider and performs the functions of the depository is the rules of a good form for any white broker. There is no trace of it here. Plus, the project is almost completely anonymous. There is no mention of the founders and leaders of this scam at all. You bet. Anonymity allows those who arranged all this to avoid responsibility for the crimes committed. Yes, and that's actually the most important point, which in this project bothers me, scares, and suggests that this is a very ordinary scam. Let's figure out where this project is still registered and what regulatory documents it has. Since no specifics could be found in the Contact Us section of the portal, let's turn to the information provided in the footer of the central page of the portal. Please note that the legal address on St.Vincent and the Grenadines is indicated here, which automatically means that the project belongs to an offshore zone. It also says that the activities of this broker are regulated by island's legislation. And it's not just bad, it's very bad. The fact is that the legislation of this jurisdiction practically at the state level guarantees anonymity to any business registered on the territory of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In fact, you and I will never be able to verify this information. So I propose to assume that, in fact, the Xenomarkets project does not have any license and never has. And in general, the information posted on their portal this is a fiction from beginning to the end. In addition, the project says that they have more than 10 years of experience in the market, but the easiest way is to check the portal address according to the resourcewhois.com. So far it tells us that the project was registered only a year ago, which once again strengthens me in the idea that there is not a single word of truth on the Xenomarkets project portal. I'm coming back to you, my friends. Just a second. Yep. Okay, I'm here. So, dear friends, and in general, all traders who watch this video, my conclusion about the project Xenomarkets sounds like it's not a broker at all. These are just the most common scammers who carry out illegal activities through their anonymous portal on the internet. I don't recommend anyone to invest here. At this point, I finish my review for today. Thanks to everyone who watched it and put a like. See you guys in my next materials. Ciao.